to hold this company accountable. It's time that these dangerous challenges come to an end.
On the floor, pleading to see if they can give me some time. Just don't give up on him. Don't give up on him.
TikTok isn't just about dances and trends. Beneath the algorithm lies a side of the app most people never find. Each layer of this iceberg reveals TikTok rabbit holes that get darker, stranger, and more unsettling. Let's begin. Layer 1. Johnny Elbows. In the early 2000s, a disabled American TikTok creator known online as Johnny Elbows, sometimes called Widow Johnny, briefly became a recognizable figure on the platform. His rise was not driven by carefully edited skits or planned storytelling, but by a steady stream of raw, unfiltered videos, filmed almost entirely by a friend named Mario. The camera followed Johnny everywhere on sidewalks, in stores, and during casual encounters with strangers, turning his daily life into content. At first, many viewers interpreted the videos as lighthearted or even wholesome. Johnny appeared interesting and outspoken, and Mario framed the recordings as harmless fun.
Let's go! Oh my god! Oh my god! This is amazing, Johnny!
But as the account grew, the tone of the content began to change. Some clips showed Johnny making inappropriate remarks toward underage girls, including comments about their bodies or asking for physical affection. These moments were not edited out or discouraged on camera. Instead, they were uploaded, shared, and pushed by TikTok's algorithm to millions of viewers. What disturbed many people was not just what Johnny said, but how the situations were handled. Mario continued filming rather than intervening, often laughing or prompting Johnny to keep talking. Critics argued that the videos showed a pattern of exploitation, where Johnny, who had cognitive and physical disabilities, was being encouraged to behave in ways that would predictably cause outrage, driving engagement and views. As backlash grew, the comment section shifted from amusement to alarm. Viewers began questioning who was responsible, Johnny himself or the person behind the camera. Advocacy groups and disabled creators pointed out that Johnny appeared to have a limited understanding of boundaries and online consequences, and that Mario, as the more capable adult, had a duty to stop recording and protect both Johnny and others from harm. Eventually, Johnny released an apology, acknowledging that some of his words were wrong and made people uncomfortable.
I'm sorry what I done, and I'll fix my mistake. I will teach myself a lesson not to do that again.
However, even this moment was met with mixed reactions. Some felt the apology was sincere, but coached, while others believed it further illustrated how much Johnny was being managed and positioned by those around him. The video slowed, then stopped. The viral attention faded as quickly as it had arrived. Despite the seriousness of what had occurred, there were no publicly reported formal legal consequences, and no clear accountability for Mario's role in filming and uploading the content. TikTok moved on, as it often does, to the next controversy. Johnny Elbows' online presence quietly disappeared, leaving behind clips, debates, and an unresolved sense of discomfort. Blackout Challenge. In the early 2000s, a dangerous online trend known as the Blackout Challenge spread quietly but rapidly across social media, particularly TikTok. It did not originate from a single creator or account. Instead, it circulated through short, often unclear videos grouped under trending hashtags, where the risks were rarely explained and the consequences rarely shown. To many children, it appeared as just another dare, something framed as thrilling and easily repeatable. By 2020, the challenge had begun to surface more frequently on TikTok. Its popularity peaked between 2021 and 2022, driven in part by the platform's recommendation system. While some clips were vague or suggestive rather than explicit, the message spread clearly enough among young viewers to be understood and imitated. The real cost of the trend became apparent through a series of devastating tragedies. In December 2021, Neela Anderson, a 10-year-old girl in the United States, died after attempting the challenge. Her death shocked her family, who stated that they had no idea such content was being shown to her online. Around the same period, other families across different countries were facing similar losses, all connected by the same viral phenomenon. In the United Kingdom, 12-year-old Archie Battersby became one of the most widely reported cases in 2022. His situation drew national attention and sparked intense public debate, not only about social media safety, but also about how online trends can reach children without parents ever seeing the source. It was later found out that Archie Battersby had been exposed to the challenge online, adding to growing concerns that the platform was failing to adequately protect younger users. Cases were also reported in Australia and other parts of the world, with some victims as young as 8 years old. Each incident followed a similar pattern. Children encountering the trend online, parents unaware of its existence, and irreversible consequences arriving without warning. As public outrage mounted, victims' families began to take action. Multiple parents filed lawsuits against TikTok.
To hold this company accountable, it's time that these dangerous challenges come to an end.
Accusing the company of negligence and arguing that its algorithm actively promoted harmful content to children. They claimed that the platform prioritized engagement over safety, allowing dangerous trends to circulate long enough to claim lives. In response, TikTok stated that it had removed videos associated with the Blackout Challenge, banned related hashtags such as #BlackoutChallenge, and added in-app warnings and safety notices. The company emphasized that content encouraging harm was in violation of its policies. However, critics argued that these measures came too late after the trend had already spread widely and inflicted lasting damage. Today, the Blackout Challenge is often referenced as a turning point in conversations about child safety online. It exposed how quickly harmful ideas can move through algorithm-driven platforms, how easily children can encounter them, and how difficult it is to fully erase a trend once it gains momentum. Though the videos may be gone and the hashtags banned, the losses remain. Noises in the attic. In 2025, a TikTok creator from the United States named Cameron Bryant, known online as unintentionally launched one of the year's most unsettling viral mysteries. What began as a few casual videos about strange sounds in her home.
There's what looked like puke in my bathtub right now. I didn't do that, and my girlfriend didn't do that. I'm convinced there's people living in my attic. I'm not even kidding you right now. Like, we're about to go up there and go check it out.
Slowly evolved into a serialized saga that left millions of viewers anxious and deeply unsettled. Cameron first told her audience that she had been hearing unexplained noises coming from her attic. Subtle thuds, movement at odd hours, and sounds that didn't fit the normal creaks of a house settling. At first, she treated it lightly, filming herself joking about it while clearly uneasy. Many viewers dismissed it as an animal or an imagination. But the situation escalated when Cameron began noticing physical signs that something was wrong. One morning, she discovered vomit left in her bathtub, despite living alone and having no explanation for how it got there. Around the same time, small objects in her home appeared to be moving on their own. Bobby pins she had placed deliberately were no longer where she left them. These details were shared plainly on camera, marking a turning point. What had seemed like paranoia now appeared to have tangible evidence. As her fear grew, so did her audience. Millions began following along as Cameron attempted to take control of the situation. She started setting traps throughout her home, placing objects in specific positions, recording entryways, and monitoring for any changes overnight. Each update became more tense than the last. When items were found disturbed again, viewers flooded the comments with theories. Some believed there was a squatter secretly living in her attic, slipping down when she wasn't home. Others insisted it was paranormal, pointing to the unexplained sickness, the careful movement of objects, and the attic noises as signs of something inhuman. The comment sections became part of the story itself. Viewers urged her to leave the house, call authorities, or bring in professionals. Others warned her that she might be in immediate danger. As speculation intensified, the videos grew more disturbing because of what was shown, but because of what wasn't. The camera never caught a clear intruder. No definitive explanation emerged. Despite the attention and concern, no confirmed resolution was ever provided. Cameron never conclusively revealed whether the cause was a person, an animal, a staged event, or something else entirely. The series simply slowed, then stopped, leaving the mystery unresolved. Layer 2. Jupiter/Corbin panel at Jupiter the Hybrid. Between 2022 and 2023, a US-based TikTok creator named Corbin Panel, known online as at Jupiter, the Hybrid, built a following around an increasingly elaborate online persona. At 26 years old, Corbin claimed to be a vampire-werewolf hybrid, presenting these assertions not as roleplay, but as personal identity. Corbin's content revolved heavily around alchemy and transformation. They claimed to practice real alchemical rituals and repeatedly spoke of creating animated objects they called homunculi. These were often described as toys or figures that Corbin said had been brought to life through rituals involving triplets, a term they used without clear explanation, but with enough repetition to become a recognizable part of their mythology. Alongside this, Corbin publicly claimed to drink blood, framing it as part of their hybrid nature.
Since you're a vampire, do you drink blood?
Not human blood, no. I use it as a last-ditch attempt.
So what blood do you drink?
Usually animal blood. Bring inanimate objects to life and use them as a blood source. They're known as homunculi.
Rather than metaphor or theatrics. As the account grew, so did public attention. What initially appeared to some viewers as unconventional fantasy content began to raise alarms, especially as younger followers became increasingly involved in Corbin's online spaces. The tone of concern shifted dramatically when serious allegations surfaced. Corbin was accused of sending explicit Snapchat messages to minors as young as 13. These allegations did not remain vague rumors.
Sophia, I know that you want this badly. This werewolf is very hot for you. And if you like what you see, then take it. Because this is your way of knowing that we're gonna date.
Screenshots circulated, and former followers came forward describing private interactions that crossed clear boundaries between an adult creator and underage fans.
Listen to me and listen good.
Okay.
Once I beat these charges, I'm going to make sure that I find a way for you to come visit. So I can give you a hug, maybe kiss you and tell you that I still care about you, you know?
Yeah, I would love that.
And who knows? Maybe explore some... Maybe. Who knows?
Further outrage followed when Corbin openly admitted to having had past relationships with minors, framing these admissions in a way that many found disturbing. Rather than acknowledging the inherent harm, Corbin attempted to justify the behavior by referencing what they called a disabled mindset. This explanation was widely condemned, with critics and disability advocates alike pointing out that disability does not excuse predatory behavior or erase responsibility. As backlash intensified, Corbin issued partial apologies. These statements were inconsistent at times, acknowledging that mistakes had been made, while at other moments reframing events, disputing interpretations, or redirecting blame. There was no single, clear acceptance of responsibility. Instead, the apologies often reignited criticism, as many felt they focused more on Corbin's feelings and reputation than on the alleged harm victims suffered. Throughout this period, TikTok became a battleground of call-out videos, defense posts, deleted content, and resurfaced clips. Some supporters continued to frame Corbin as misunderstood for being different, while a growing number of creators labeled the behavior as predatory and dangerous, especially given Corbin's proximity to underage fans and their tendency to mix fantasy identity with real-world interactions. By late 2023, Corbin Panel's online presence was defined less by claims of supernatural identity and more by ongoing controversy and unresolved allegations. While some content was removed and account's activity fluctuated, the situation never reached a clear resolution. No widely reported legal consequences followed, but the reputational damage was lasting. Frank Nova, also known as Gabe or Nova Stars. Frank Nova's online story did not begin with controversy. It began quietly, years earlier in Idaho, where he was born and raised. As a teenager, Nova gravitated toward the internet with an intensity that suggested he wanted to be seen long before anyone was watching. His first YouTube channel, Magic Wizard, featured daily vlogs and gaming streams. He uploaded consistently, looking into the camera as if an audience had already shown up, even when the view counts remained low. When that channel failed to gain attraction, he pivoted again, launching a new channel in June 2020 called Novine Universe. The content was mostly harmless rambling updates and casual videos, but in hindsight, Nova's breakthrough did not come from careful planning or polished branding. It came through ridicule. Around 2022, he went viral for a Wingstop food review that quickly turned him into a meme. His noticeable lisp, awkward delivery, and unusual eating habits made the clip spread rapidly, not because viewers admired it, but because they found it strange. The attention was sudden and overwhelming. For the first time, Nova was widely seen, and that visibility appeared to change how he presented himself online. As his TikTok following grew to roughly 365,000, his content became more personal and increasingly uncomfortable. The food reviews continued for a while, but Nova began sharing intimate details about his life and identity. He openly discussed age regression, presenting himself as a little, and spoke about wearing diapers and using pacifiers.
Alive and caught by his mom.
What?
What the fuck are they sending my mom? Fuck my life.
Framing these behaviors as coping mechanisms. While some viewers defended him, many others felt unsettled, especially given how young a portion of his audience was. Rather than pulling back, Nova leaned into the exposure. As criticism mounted, he disclosed even more about himself, often without clear boundaries. What had started as eccentric oversharing soon crossed into serious controversy. Allegations surfaced that Nova had engaged in inappropriate behavior during a video call with a 14-year-old girl, triggering widespread backlash. Nova denied the accusations, claiming they were fabricated, but his prior pattern of oversharing and boundary blurring made many viewers skeptical. Further scrutiny turned to his disturbing content, in which Nova was reportedly active as a moderator. Former members accused him of using the space to seek validation and attention, allegedly interacting with underage users in ways critics said were inappropriate. Screenshots circulated, and other creators began archiving his behavior. What had once been dismissed as internet cringe now carried far more serious implications. Offline consequences followed. Reports emerged that Nova had been removed from his church. His online presence became fragmented as TikTok accounts were repeatedly banned and recreated. Each return met with faster backlash than the last. Despite the scale of the controversy, no legal action was publicly reported, and the situation remained largely confined to online spaces. Amid the chaos, Nova continued posting. He became involved in public feuds with other controversial creators, including Tofia, with exchanges marked by petty insults and accusations, including claims of racism. These rivalries kept attention on him, and a portion of his audience stayed not out of support, but to see what would happen next. After a brief disappearance, Nova attempted a reset. He returned with a recreation of his original Wingstop review, seemingly trying to reclaim the moment that first made him famous. The effort failed to convince most viewers. Later, he shifted again, this time toward fitness content, presenting it as a personal transformation. But the change appeared surface level, and many felt it lacked sincerity or consistency. By the time Nova's presence faded from mainstream attention, his story had become a familiar cautionary tale of internet fame. The imaginary friend Steve. In 2025, a TikTok creator known as @omzs9v2 unintentionally drew millions of viewers into a slow-building, deeply unsettling story that blurred the line between innocent childhood imagination and something far more disturbing. What began as casual posts about a younger sibling's drawings soon evolved into one of the most talked-about, unsettling series on the platform. At first, the videos seemed harmless. @AMZZZZ9v2 shared her sibling's crayon drawings, explaining that the child had an imaginary friend named Steve. According to the child, Steve was tall and dark, often described as a shadowy figure who appeared in many of the drawings.
Wait, what do you want to show me?
My picture I drew.
Your picture you drew.
That's Daddy, that's Mummy, and that's me.
And what's that?
That's Steve.
Steve?
Yeah, Steve.
Who's Steve?
My friend.
Your imaginary friend?
My best friend.
Your best friend Steve? You've got a best friend that looks like this?
Another character, Margaret, also appeared alongside him. The art was crude and childlike, but viewers immediately noticed how consistently Steve was portrayed as looming, elongated, and faceless. The creator initially laughed it off, framing the posts as an example of kids having vivid imaginations. But as more updates followed, the tone shifted. The child began speaking about Steve with striking specificity, describing where he stood, when he appeared, and what he looked like. None of the descriptions was graphic, but the calm way the child spoke unsettled viewers. Steve was never described as imaginary, only as someone who was there. Things escalated when @AMZZZZ9v2 revealed that her sibling had a plush toy meant to represent Steve. Unlike typical stuffed animals, the plush was tall, dark, and oddly proportioned, mirroring the drawings almost exactly.
What do you want to show me?
Steve.
Steve?
Yeah, Steve is ready to meet you.
He's ready to meet me?
Yeah, look.
What is this?
Steve.
Steve?
Yeah, Steve.
Where did you get this from?
He's always been here.
He's always been here. No, but where did you actually get this from? Just look at it. Can you go get the drawings, please?
Yeah.
Viewers flooded the comments with concern and disbelief, pointing out how unusual it was for a child's imaginary friend to take such a consistent form. The most disturbing update came later. A life-sized version of Steve appeared in the home. Whether it was homemade, purchased, or crafted, for reasons never fully explained, the figure matched the child's descriptions too closely for comfort. Standing upright, tall and shadow-like, it transformed what had once been dismissed as imagination into something that visibly unsettled even the adults in the house. The camera began capturing more than just drawings and toys. It showed the family's reactions. Laughter gave way to nervous silence. You could hear uncertainty in voices, see hesitation in body language. The adults never directly encouraged the idea that Steve was real, but they also didn't seem fully comfortable dismissing it. The unease became part of the story. As the videos went viral, speculation exploded. Some viewers believed the story was staged, a carefully crafted horror series designed to unsettle. Others were convinced it was genuine, pointing to the child's natural behavior and the family's visible discomfort as evidence. Eventually, the updates slowed. There was no definitive resolution, no clear statement explaining Steve, the drawings, or the life-sized figure. The story simply stopped appearing on feeds, leaving viewers with unanswered questions and lingering unease. Layer 3. Devious Licks Challenge. The devious licks trend did not explode overnight. It began quietly on September 1st, 2021, with a single TikTok post that would soon ripple through schools across North America. A user named Jug4 Elias uploaded a short video showing a hand sanitizer dispenser he claimed to have stolen from his school. The caption read, "A month into school. Devious lick." At the time, the phrase meant little. Within days, it meant everything. The term devious lick, slang for a daring theft, spread rapidly. Students across the United States began posting their own videos using the phrase. What started as small acts quickly escalated. Soap dispensers and paper towel holders disappeared from bathrooms. Then toilet paper roll shields. Then mirrors, sinks, and ceiling tiles. In some videos, entire urinals and toilets were shown ripped from walls, hauled away as trophies for the camera. As competition for attention intensified, so did the scale of destruction. Students began stealing items outside bathrooms, as well as exit signs, telephones, interactive whiteboards, microscopes, and other classroom equipment. To avoid moderation, captions evolved, swapping devious for similar words like mischievous or diabolical licks. The videos multiplied faster than schools could respond. Law enforcement soon became involved. In Polk County, Florida, 3 students from 2 high schools were arrested, along with a 15-year-old charged for damaging and stealing soap dispensers at Bartow High School. In Boone County, Kentucky, 8 students faced charges, 4 for theft and 4 for vandalism. In Stafford County, Virginia, a student was charged after vandalizing a park bathroom near their school. In Mojave County, Arizona, another 15-year-old was arrested for stealing a toilet paper dispenser. Many students were identified through the very videos they had posted for clout. As the trend dominated headlines, TikTok moved to intervene. The original video from Jug4 Elias was removed on September 13, 2021. 2 days later, on September 15th, TikTok officially banned the trend, citing violations of its policies against illegal activity. By that point, the hashtag had amassed over 235 million views. Searches for devious licks began redirecting users to a community guidelines notice, and videos were removed. Copies, however, continued to circulate through re-uploads and coded language. The response outside the platform was swift and loud. Schools issued warnings, locked bathrooms, increased security, and threatened suspension, expulsion, and arrest. Police departments echoed those warnings publicly. Media commentators widely condemned the trend, framing it as an example of social media fueling reckless behavior. As backlash intensified and enforcement tightened, the trend finally began to fade. In its place, a quieter response emerged. Some TikTok users launched a counter-trend called Angelic Yields. Instead of stealing, students anonymously donated soap, toilet paper, and other supplies to their schools, or hid small gifts in cash for others to find. By late 2021, devious licks had largely disappeared from TikTok's front page, but its impact remained. Bathrooms were repaired, students faced lasting consequences, and schools reassessed security and social media awareness. What began with a box of stolen masks had grown into one of the most disruptive school-related viral trends of the decade. Zachary Latham murder case. In May 2020, a simmering neighborhood dispute in Vineland, New Jersey, escalated into fatal violence, leaving one man dead and drawing national attention to the role social media played in inflaming real-world conflict. At the center was Zachary T. Latham, an 18-year-old TikTok user and his neighbor William T. Durham Sr., a 51-year-old husband, father, and corrections officer. The trouble had been building for weeks. The conflict began when Catherine Durham, William's wife, asked Latham to slow down after he allegedly sped through their street. He began harassing them both online and in person.
What are you gonna do, Karen?
That's not my name, so get my name straight. Go ahead.
You okay, Karen? Go ahead, get my tag.
On the night of May 4th, 2020, tensions finally erupted. An argument broke out in front of the Durham family home on Thornhill Road, involving Latham on one side and William Durham Sr. and his wife on the other. The confrontation was verbal at first, then Latham left the scene and drove to his nearby home. Once home, Latham retrieved a knife and a stun gun, then went back outside as the Durham family arrived. The confrontation resumed in Latham's driveway, quickly turning physical. The altercation escalated as two of Latham's friends joined the fight, while Latham's wife recorded the encounter on her phone. That video later became a key piece of evidence. The struggle moved from the driveway to the garage. Latham used the stun gun on William Durham Sr. and then stabbed him with 2 knives. Durham Sr. was fatal, he wounded during the prolonged physical assault. Latham was injured and later taken to a hospital where he was treated for injuries, including a concussion, and then released. William Durham Sr., however, did not survive. In the immediate aftermath, Latham was arrested and charged with first-degree aggravated manslaughter, 2 second-degree counts of aggravated assault, and multiple weapons offenses. He was held in the Cumberland County Jail pending a detention hearing. Additional details emerged through community sources. Gallagher alleged that earlier that same day, Latham had swerved his vehicle toward one of the Durham children, prompting Catherine Durham to confront him. Gallagher further claimed that Latham punched Catherine Durham, triggering the chain of events that led to the fatal confrontation. Charges were also filed against members of the Durham family. Catherine Durham, 49, was charged with 4th-degree criminal trespass and simple assault, accused of punching Latham's wife during the altercation. The 2 sons were each charged with 3rd-degree aggravated assault and 4th-degree criminal trespass. As the case moved forward, investigators and prosecutors examined Latham's TikTok activity, which showed a pattern of confrontational behavior in videos documenting neighborhood disputes. These clips, prosecutors later argued, were part of an effort to gain attention and validation online by provoking real-life conflict. In 2022, after legal proceedings that weighed claims of self-defense against the digital and physical evidence, Zachary Latham was convicted of manslaughter. The verdict rejected the notion that the killing was justified, concluding that Latham's actions directly contributed to William Durham Sr.'s death. The case left a lasting impact on the Vineland community. Layer 4, Claire Miller, TikTok star murder. In the early hours of a winter morning in Lancaster County, a quiet suburban home became the center of a tragedy that stunned an entire community. Long before sunrise, investigators moved in and out of the house on Manheim Township streets, collecting evidence and trying to understand how an ordinary family night ended in an unimaginable loss. Just after 1 a.m., 14-year-old Claire Miller called police and told the dispatcher that she had killed her sister. When officers arrived, they found Claire outside the home, covered in blood. Calm but shaken, she directed them inside. What police discovered in the bedroom was devastating. Helen Miller was found lying in her bed. A blood-stained pillow covered her face, and beneath it, investigators found that she had been stabbed. Helen, who lived with disabilities and depended on care at home, had been attacked while she slept. The violence occurred while both parents were in the house, unaware of what was unfolding until officers arrived and entered the home. "This is just an awful situation," said Manheim Township Police Chief Thomas Rudzinski, speaking later that day. For a department unaccustomed to crimes of this magnitude, the scene was deeply unsettling. A search warrant executed at the Miller home revealed that several items were taken as evidence, including kitchen knives, as investigators worked to piece together the moments leading up to the killing. One key detail emerged early in the investigation. A witness told police she had been on the phone with Claire before the incident, and that Claire had expressed disturbing thoughts, prompting further concern about her mental state before the attack. As the day wore on, the reality of the situation settled in. The Millers' parents, who had gone to bed expecting an ordinary night, awoke to a nightmare that left them without one child and facing the incarceration of the other. Chief Rudzinski spoke openly about the toll it took. "I can't imagine what those parents are going through today," he said. "I'm sure they are upset to say the least over the loss of one, and the second one is in prison as well." Claire Miller was taken into custody at the scene by Monheim Township Police, with the Lancaster County District Attorney's Office assisting in the investigation. She was charged with criminal homicide. Under Pennsylvania law, homicide is not treated as a juvenile delinquency matter, meaning Claire was charged as an adult. Because of the nature of the charge, she was not eligible for bail. Skullbreaker Challenge. By the beginning of 2020, the Skullbreaker Challenge had already begun circulating online, but for many families it remained completely unknown until it appeared on screen and entered real life. In January, in the suburban town of Cherry Hill, New Jersey, the trend stopped being an abstract internet danger and became a medical emergency. Stacy Shanker had never heard the phrase Skullbreaker Challenge before January 24th. That morning, her 13-year-old son, a 7th grader at a local middle school, went to class as usual. Sometime during the school day, he became the target of what appeared to be a harmless prank. Two classmates convinced him to take part in a coordinated jump. Like countless videos circulating online, the plan was never explained to the person in the middle. When he jumped, his legs were kicked out from under him. Shanker's day changed with a phone call from the school. She was told her son had been injured and needed medical attention. By the time she arrived, roughly 20 minutes later, the situation had escalated dramatically. Her son was non-responsive and an ambulance had already been called. He had suffered a seizure, a detail that made it clear this was no minor accident. At that moment, neither parent knew what had happened. The word challenge had not yet been mentioned. Shanker later said that as her son was rushed to the hospital and doctors began running tests, the family was still in the dark. It was only then that the school contacted her husband and explained the cause. Their son had been injured during the Skullbreaker Challenge, a viral prank popularized on platforms like TikTok. The challenge itself followed a simple script seen in videos online. 3 people stand side by side and agree to jump at the same time. The 2 on the end stay grounded and kick the middle person's legs midair, sending them backward without warning. The sudden fall leaves the victim unable to brace themselves, often resulting in head trauma. In Shanker's son's case, the consequences were severe. He spent more than 24 hours in the hospital, diagnosed with a major concussion. The experience was frightening and disorienting, not only for him but for his family. "Initially, we didn't know what happened," Shanker later said. "At that point, we had never heard of the prank." Recovery did not end at discharge. While the boy eventually returned home, his parents and the school worked together to arrange academic accommodations to support his return to class. He later began physical therapy with the intention of eventually returning to sports. Progress was slow but steady. "It was really very scary," Shanker said. "My son is slowly making progress." Unlike many similar incidents tied to viral challenges, this case did not end quietly. The Camden County Prosecutor's Office announced that 2 Cherry Hill students accused of injuring Shanker's son were charged with 3rd-degree aggravated assault and 3rd-degree endangering an injured victim. Because everyone involved was a minor, officials declined to release further details. As the story spread, Shanker began seeing posts from other parents online describing similar injuries tied to the same challenge. TikTok, responding to questions about the challenge, stated that it does not allow content that encourages or glorifies dangerous behavior. A spokesperson said the Skullbreaker challenge violated the platform's guidelines and that such content would continue to be removed, urging users to exercise caution both online and offline. By the time the Skullbreaker challenge faded from prominence, it had already left behind hospital stays and criminal charges. In Cherry Hill, it served as a stark example of how quickly a viral trend could turn into a life-altering event, and how a moment recorded for laughs could carry consequences far beyond the screen. TikTok doesn't end here. What starts as entertainment can quietly slide into danger and real-world harm before anyone realizes what's happening. If these videos got you thinking, share and subscribe.